Welcome back to the Fantasy Endgame. I'm Pierre, here to help you with some more waiver wire pickups for fantasy baseball. We're now in week 20, which means there's really only a few weeks left, and that is it for 2022. But there's still time to catch up in the standings, win those last few head-to-head contests, and finish on top. Now this week, we're going to do a little different. I know I've been giving you some hitter options and some pitcher options in different videos. We're going to put them all together in one neat place for you. And this week, I'm actually going to focus on some rookies and prospects that are either making an impact already or about to, so you can get ahead of the curve. All right, let's start with the hitters, and a name that has been all over baseball news lately, Vaughn Grissom of the Atlanta Braves. So you remember Michael Harris mid-season where he made the jump from Double-A, one of their top prospects, and he has been rock solid ever since. Definitely was a great ad mid-season if you did get him. Well, Vaughn Grissom is now doing the same thing, making that leap. Doesn't really even have that much minor league experience, but they pulled him up from Double-A, and it really didn't take long at all. He's already hitting home runs, making an impact. He's hitting 417 so far. Now, again, let's pump the brakes a little bit. It's only been 24 at-bats since he joined the Braves, but still, he could not have gotten off to a better start. Like I said, 2 home runs, 4 RBIs, a stolen base even. He's going to be playing second base until Ozzie Albies returns, which we have no idea when that will be, and realistically, they might just hold off until maybe a week or two before the season just to get him into shape for the playoffs. So at this point, Grissom, the way he's hitting, he's going to be in the everyday lineup anyways. He also qualifies shortstop, third base. He's about to get that second base eligibility, at least in Yahoo. So this is a guy that you absolutely should pick up because you can put him anywhere in the infield basically, and the way he's hitting in that Braves lineup, must add. All right, now on to a guy who has yet to make his debut, but he just got called up. That is Brett Baty of the New York Mets. So as of right now, he just got called up. He's going to be joining the team because Luis Guillorme, the guy who's been holding down third base, remember, they traded J.D. Davis. They've had a lot of movement there lately, and it's time for Baty. Team's going to see what he can do. This is a guy with massive power potential. Fangraphs rates him at 70 grade raw power. He's been doing pretty well this year with 19 home runs, 59 RBIs at the Double-A level. So we'll see what he can do in New York. Some guys, they shine in the bright lights. Some, well, you know, they just don't acclimate to the Big Apple quite as well. Baty, a big-time prospect. Definitely worth a shot. I'm kind of surprised. I wasn't sure if it would be him or Mark Vientos that called up first. It is Baty. Look, you know what happens. Sometimes these rookies, kind of like Grissom I just talked about, come in and immediately start just slugging away, cranking home runs. If he does that, it'll be an instant boost to your lineup. So take a chance on Baty if you do have an extra roster spot available. All right, now on to Detroit. Lesser known prospect by the name of Kerry Carpenter got the call. And, well, he's at least providing some sort of offense for the Tigers, which is rare these days. But, look, he's hitting .313 so far with a pair of home runs in his first 16 at-bats. Again, small sample alert, but so far so good. And this is a team that could use any sort of a spark. He's been hitting 5th, which is interesting too. The fact that he's already in the middle of that lineup, and he's been usually DH, a little bit of left field. Now the thing is a left-handed batter, and so there's sort of a platoon situation going on. If you're in a weekly league where you set your lineup and forget it once a week, maybe not the ideal ad. He's really going to play mostly against right-handers, and so you might want to be able in a daily league where you can set your lineup when he's in there. Good DFS play, perhaps, but right now, someone to keep your eye on. He should get the majority of the at-bats in that strong side platoon. So Carpenter, guy, keep your eye on right now. And a guy who has just lost his rookie eligibility status, and that is Oscar Gonzalez of the Cleveland Guardians. He's basically replaced Franmil Reyes. Remember, he was DFA'd, now in Chicago with the Cubs, trying to latch on there. But Oscar Gonzalez has been kind of the better, younger version of Reyes. Now, he's not the same guy with that massive power. You know, he's hitting well. He only has 3 home runs so far and a little bit over 170 at-bats, but he's hitting .305. He's also driven in 19 runs. This is a guy who's just been consistent, solid, great contact. He's got a 45.3% hard hit rate. He is hitting the ball hard, hasn't quite left defense, at the high rate that we would hope for, but he does have power. Last year, between Double-A and Triple-A, that would be Columbus and Akron, 31 home runs. So we know it's there. Maybe just hasn't quite tapped into it yet. But either way, that average is going to help you. Cleveland's still playing well despite everything. So you know what? Gonzalez is a guy. I've actually had picked him up weeks ago in some of my leagues. He's still floating out there for some reason in a lot of fantasy leagues. He's a guy who, again, not going to jump off the radar with amazing stats, but he's doing pretty solid in terms of the counting stats and definitely an average. So guy that you should be picking up. All right, let's talk pitchers. And the first name I want to mention is a guy who just finished his first start for Oakland. That is J.P. Sears. All right, so Sears went 5 scoreless against the Rangers. Yeah, it's the Rangers, but still. He's been pretty impressive. Now, you might know his name because he was kind of one of the headliners in that Frankie Montas deal. Remember, sending him to New York, as Oakland does, sellers at the deadline, right? So Montas to the Yankees. Sears was one of the guys that came back immediately in the rotation. And the news that Paul Blackburn is now shut down for the season means Sears has that rotation spot locked up. So when he was with the Yanks, well, he was kind of bounced between the rotation and the bullpen. He did okay. He just didn't really go deep into games because they used him either kind of like as a modified opener, just didn't stretch him out too far. Maybe they knew he was going to get dealt. I don't know, but we'll see what he can do now. He's going to have a chance to probably go a little bit longer into games. So far, so good. So JP Sears is a guy who, man, with Oakland, not a good team, but it's actually a great park factor for pitchers, kind of a spacious area there. So better for pitchers, good pitching environment, playing some teams in the West that are like the Rangers and the Angels, as usual. It's not very good. So Sears is definitely a guy to consider. All right, is there a closer or prospective closer among these rookies and prospects? Well, let's talk about Alexis Diaz of the Reds, who I guess is now the closer again. Got a few saves earlier in the season. That has been kind of a rotating, carousel there as far as who's getting saves. It looks like it's Diaz. He's been pitching well all season, really, but, missed some time because he was on the injured list. Just got a save the other day. And, since the All-Star break, he's just been pitching the best out of all of their relievers, only giving up 1 run and 4 hits with 17 strikeouts over 11 innings since the second half started. That's good stuff. This is a guy who, despite being on a bad team, if he's going to pick up saves, he is valuable to you. So I would give Alexis Diaz a try. Speaking of trades, well, Mitch White was dealt from the Dodgers to the Blue Jays. Of course, Dodgers always making moves too. Mitch White had been in the rotation for the Dodgers a little bit. Also a guy who's seen action between bullpen and as a starter. Doing okay, kind of a promising young arm, but now going to the Blue Jays going all in to really try to actually make the playoffs this year. So White is going to hold down a spot for the time being. Well, how's he done with Toronto since being dealt in his first start? 3 earned runs in 4 2/3 innings. Not too great. But then his second start with the Blue Jays, he only gave up 1 run and 3 hits, also over 4 2/3 innings. Frustrating to see that he's just 1 out shy of going 5 each time, but I imagine he's going to go a little longer, might actually qualify for a win his next time out. This is a guy who, the only downside here, the whiff rate is only 9%, right? His strikeout numbers aren't great, but it looks like they should even be lower. I think he can pick it up. He's got good stuff. He's not going to blow away hitters, but, as he learns the game, that could improve a little, but don't expect too much in the way of strikeouts. But do hope that some wins start to come as he goes a little deeper into games. And then finally, a current Dodger, somebody who, let me just say right now, not recommending to add right now. I'm not saying go add him because he's actually been a little rough his last couple of starts, but he's got some potential. So keep your eye on Ryan Pepiot of the Dodgers. So obviously, Walker Buehler now shut down for the season, unfortunately, and Clayton Kershaw, you just never know with him. So with Pepiot, he's given up 2 home runs in each of the last 2 starts. This guy is giving up a lot of fly balls and not inducing grounders at all. 16% walk rate. Okay, those are really bad numbers, but he had been pitching really well until those last couple of starts. This is a rough patch. We'll see what happens going forward. So again, not recommending that you stream him at all, but this is someone to keep your eye on because he could turn things around. And if the light bulb goes off, again, especially with the Dodgers, that team that he could always get a win. He's got some great mentors there, in the dugout. So Pepiot, don't give up on him, but keep an eye and see if he turns things around. He could help you out in September.